Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is continue on with this polygon model here, and I'm going to go ahead and just hide this one, Control H, and I'm going to turn off my image plane. Instead of hiding it, I'm just going to go under Show, and under Image Plane I'm going to uncheck that. So for this perspective camera, it's not going to see the image plane. It's still showing up down here in the other views, but we're just not seeing it in the perspective view. Okay. And I'm going to bring this back to center. So under Translate X over here in the channel box, I'm going to type in 0, and that's going to bring it back to the 0, 0, 0 space. Okay, so I kind of like the direction this is going. I'm creating a goblet for a monster. We're going to be doing a monster theme. And the book, as well as the bottle that we're going to make, they're all going to props that our monster uses, and we're going to be modeling the monster character later on in the semester. So just kind of think about the object that your character is going to use and what that might look like. It's going to fit into his hands comfortably, or her hands comfortably. So I'm going to kind of warp this a little bit and make it a little bit more fun. Okay, so my goblet's got a little dent in it right here from where I was kind of messing around with the points and pulling things around. I can cut it in half and fix that, or I can just go ahead and leave it and assume that my monster kind of crushed that with his mighty hand. If I wanted to go in there and fix that, let me see which angle that's on. So it's from the side view. It's over here on this side. So this side's actually the clean side. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and select the faces and cut this in half. I'm going to cut off the side that I don't want. Hit delete. So with that cut in half, I'm going to mirror it over so it's going to be identical on both sides now. This is very much a part of character modeling that I'm doing right here, so you're kind of getting a view into character modeling. Okay, so with that selected, I'm going to come under Mesh, Mirror Geometry, option box. So I'm just going to reset this tool. And if we look at our direction over here, we've got the z-axis is the one that we're going to be mirroring across in positive direction. So let's just go ahead and click that. You see it mirrored it over. I'm going to close that. Okay. So they are all connected here. The vertices are all connected, and it should be good. So let me come back out here. And okay, my goblet's fixed now. It's not dented. All right. So I want to just kind of modify some of the geometry here, and I can do that with the vertices as well. It doesn't have to be edges, so I can grab all the vertices and do that. I can also start angling things a little too if I want to start kind of playing with the geometry a little bit and having a little fun with it. I can do that. And I'm drawing marquees around these and just kind of manipulating them a little. Okay, I can also click on a vertice, hold the Shift key down, and click again. We'll send it around in the complete loop. And I can kind of change that a little bit. Maybe push it over, scale it in. Okay. So it's starting to just look a little more interesting than the plain old wine glass we had. Okay. Make it a little crooked. And, you know, there's some other ways that we can do that. Instead of just going point by point here or edge by edge, we can try to affect this on a little bit bigger scale by using a deformer. So let me show you that. So I'm just selecting the glass now in object mode, and under deform I'm going to put what's called a lattice around here, and that's that cage. And we don't quite have enough points here to really affect it well enough, so under the shapes here You can see the divisions. I'm going to just bump everything up to 6. Actually, I can click and drag all the way down and type in 6 and do it uniformly. So that gives us a lot more points to work with here. And if I right mouse click over the lattice, it's going to give me the lattice points. So those look a lot like our vertices. And what I can do with that now is just start modifying all the geometry within that region of the lattice. Okay, so I can grab multiple areas and just making sure I grabbed all the way around there. I can start kind of tweaking it a little bit. And maybe doing that. So you can see it's modifying a greater area. So if you want kind of specific areas modified and angled a certain way, you're going to work with the vertices or the edges. If you want to affect a larger area, this is a good way to do that. And you don't have to grab all of them. You can grab certain points and kind of pull them off in a direction. Okay, you don't want to pull them out too far where they start doing that. If you do that, you're going to have to add a little more resolution in there because this edge is not going to really hold up the way it's being pulled out like that. Okay, but you can kind of manipulate it a little and grab some points over here. And if we want something a little more asymmetrical, start doing this. And we can also rotate things too. Okay. Maybe angle this a little. Maybe pull the sides up here. Something like that. Okay. So it's just starting to look a little more interesting and cartoon friendly here. So same thing here. I'm not going to push it down so it goes through the floor. I don't want that. Or, I mean, it could, I guess it could curl up a little bit on the edges. Maybe it's a little bent. Well used. Okay. Alright, so if we right mouse click over our lattice again and go back to object mode, if I just delete that, we're going to lose all the information that we just did on our goblet right there. So I'm hitting Z to go back. So how do we get rid of the lattice and maintain the information that we just did, the editing we just did to the goblet? It's very much like the curve. It's got that history associated with the two objects, and you have to go ahead and break that connection between them. So I'm out here in my outliner again. We can see the lattice I've got selected. I'm going to control click on the poly glass, so I've got both of them selected. And under edit, delete by type, history. So we're going to see the lattice disappear. So it's deleted that connection and it's deleted the lattice as well. Alright, so I think this was a division of 1 that we have on here, and we could easily go up one more. Okay. So you can see all the construction history going on here, and we deleted it once when we deleted the history there from the lattice. So let's go ahead and just delete all the history on there. So it's cleaned it up, and I'm going to go ahead and put another smooth modifier on there. So we can set our divisions here. I'm just going to smooth it by 1, and which is 2 up from where our original geometry was when we revolved the curve. So this is looking pretty good. I'm going to take off the wireframe overshaded and kind of see what it looks like. I've got a little edge right here which I think I have too many edges right here. So what I'm going to do is just remove some edges. I'm going to hold down the shift key and I think take out these 2 right here. They're creating that little divot in there that I don't like. And if I delete those, I just hit the delete key, it's going to leave a little mess behind that causes many problems, and that's these floating vertices, and we don't want these on our geometry. Vertices have to be connected by an edge, such as this one. This is considered floating. It's just sitting out here in the middle of an edge. And if I were to try to come in here and say insert another edge loop, it would stop me. It's not going to allow me to do it. You can see right there. So I know I have a problem. It's not Maya having technical problems. It's actually an error on the model itself. So I'm just going to Control Z out of there and go back to my selection and just double clicking that. If you hold down the Control key and hit delete, that's going to take both the edge and the vertice out of there. Okay, so you can see that it's gone. Alright, so you always want to do that when you're deleting edges. I think I'm going to delete this one here too. So I'm going to grab the edge, hold down the Control key, and delete that edge. And this one I'm going to just kind of move up a little bit. So I think that smooth the edge out. I see another little kind of edge right here. I'm seeing this little indent right here that I don't like. I'm just going to take that out, and I think this one here too. Okay. And if I go back to object mode, there, that's looking better. I think I'm okay with that. Alright, so here's my monster goblet, and we currently have just a standard Lambert 1 shader on here. It's the default shader that Maya puts on everything when it makes it. And what we're going to do is I'm going to do kind of a brief lesson in shaders and lighting as well. We'll get some lights in here and add some color to it, and we'll do that in the next lesson.